Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar. It is the second in our installment for the EU project series. Today we are featuring the KnowEMS project and the core project. We have two very interesting presentations today. You will get an idea of two different projects that have been successfully funded and an idea of what these projects have to offer and some of their outcomes as well. I am pleased to be joined here today with Chaim Rafalowski. He has more than 30 years of experience in David Autumn in Israel. That is the national EMS of Israel. And we also have Rafaela Russo. She is a senior scientist and a senior project manager, and she is presently a consultant at the University of Salerno. Without further ado, I will go ahead and pass the floor to Chaim, who will introduce the KnowEMS project. Chaim, please.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Alexandra, and I hope you can see my screen well.
Yes.
So as I was presented, thank you for that. My name is Chaim. I'm the technical coordinator of a project funded by DG ECO Civil Protection Mechanism Knowledge Network, which is called KnowEMS, and I'm honored to present the project to you. But first, why? Why do we have this project? Mainly because EMS, Emergency Medical Services, is a fragmented sector. Magen David Adom, the Red Star of David, is a national EMS in Israel. Many of the EMS services in Europe and globally are local, regional. Some of them are statewide. Some belong to the fire services. Some belong to the hospitals. Some are a mixture of volunteer organizations, private outsourcing, local governments, all different of structures. And that results in the fact that we don't have one place, one fora, where we can all sit together and discuss and share in a systematic way. Firefighters have the Fire Chief Association. Police officers have the Police Commissioner Associations. We don't have that. We don't, and the result is that we are not sharing. The other thing is that EMS organizations are facing critical incidents, large-scale incidents, but they are a kind of one in a lifetime or one in a career time event. Brussels had horrible attacks, but that's Brussels. And then Madrid had one. And Paris had Bataclan. And we can go through many cities in Europe and globally, and each one of them had one isolated large incident. And the question is how that information goes from Madrid to other countries. One of the most important things we heard is that the colleagues from Brussels told us that they have very close working relationship with the SAMU of Paris. So they had the opportunity to discuss with SAMU Paris their response, and that helped them a lot in the attacks in Brussels that came later. We're facing new challenges. COVID had shown us that fake news is a major issue. False information is a major issue. We see now cyber terrorism, and everyone is talking about a possible large-scale cyber attack, about a new pandemic, about weapons of mass disruption, chemical weapons. And the technology around us is changing constantly. As you can see, I'm a dinosaur. I grew up in the era where EMTs, emergency medical technicians in the field, didn't have a defibrillator. Today, the general public has an AED. They have a defibrillator. The defibrillators are everywhere. It changed the way we do business. But we see already new things happening. We have eCall that has changed dramatically the way that we receive information about incidents. We are receiving in Israel more and more calls of people that their smartwatch is calling us because they fell down. Are we discussing that? The answer is no. We are discussing in-house. We are sharing with our friends with these 1 or 2 services that we know well, and we would like to talk to them. We don't have a systemic way of sharing. And this is why the legend of the European Civil Protection Knowledge Network, Connect, Share, and Grow, was so appealing to us. And we decided that we will go there and ask them to help us create a network. The network already has foundations. It has foundations because we had a previous project called No Fear that was funded before pandemic. And it had many objectives, but one of the key objectives was to create a network to discuss emergency medical services and acute care of patients in security-related incidents. And then pandemic came. And for me, the most important thing, and this is a debt that we will have forever to colleagues in Spain and colleagues in Italy, because if you remember the first weeks and months of COVID, we were in the dark. We knew nothing. We saw horrible news items about what is happening in Italy, what is happening in Spain. We didn't really know. So we picked up the phone and said, we know that you're sleeping 3 hours a day. Please spare 1 hour and tell us what is really happening in your country. What are the challenges? What are you doing? What is working for you? What is not working? What are you learning? And that helped us as Israelis to be better prepared for the pandemic. And this was an obligation for us to share with other countries that were behind us on the trajectory of the pandemic in their countries. And we hope we help them prepare better. And this is the value of the network. The one example I'm always giving, and it saved many, many lives in Israel. I'm a paramedic for many years. And through my whole training, the most famous sentence of my trainers was, and I used it as well as a trainer, treat the patient, don't treat the monitor. So if I look at the patient and the patient looks fine, and the pulse oximeter reads 87, I would go and check the pulse oximeter. I would not check the patient. COVID was different. Patients were smiling at us. Patients were okay. They had a saturation. They had a desaturation of 87, and they crashed. And when they crashed, they died. And through our international cooperation, we learned very early that there is something which is called silent hypoxia. And it is demonstrated on the oximeters. It is not demonstrated clinically, and we have to treat those patients early. And this is the kind of things that we want from this cooperation, to identify things that will help us improve what we are doing. So we have an interesting network where we have INEP, which is the national EMS in Portugal. We have SAMUR Protección Civil of the city of Madrid, which are the main ambulance provider in the city of Madrid. We had both the Association of Emergency Medicine in France, as well as one of the SAMU, the largest SAMU of Paris. We have Johanniter from Germany, who are the project coordinator, and they are an ambulance provider in Germany, as well as one of the as well as a center of competence for civil protection, who are also the coordinators of rescue medical capacities. We have the Ministry of Emergency Situations of Romania, who are in charge of SMURD, the ambulance service in Romania, and Magen David Adom, as I said, in Israel, which is 3 organizations in one. We are the National Ambulance Service, we are the Blood Bank, and we are the society which is part of the international movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent. And what are the outcomes that we expect to see in our project? We want to be a meaningful network where experts will be able to discuss issues of interest, and issues of interest, some of them are very technical. For example, the use of FDP and blood in ambulance services, the use of pre-hospital ECMO, training issues, equipment issues, going all the way to how are we doing triage in mass casualty incidents, and are we effective in the ideas of triage, and how technology can help us do mass casualty incident management in a better way. And we would like to bring to the table the experiences that are learned, and by sharing them, we hope that they are not just observed, but they are also learned by our colleagues, and to publish those experiences that can be publishable. We know that not all of them. So how are we going to achieve that? We are going to have every month a webinar which is open to the large EMS public globally, especially in Europe. Everyone is invited to join our network and to listen. The next webinar, which will be on July 12th at 10 a.m. Central European time, will be about lessons learned from the mass burns incident that Romania had several years ago, and the large medevac operation of patients all over Europe. And later we will have another one about large-scale public gatherings and the EMS response to that. So how are we doing Olympic Games, Euro, Pride Madrid, and other special events like that. And then following those public large-scale webinars, we are going to have an experts discussion, a small group discussion of high-ranking people in EMS, where we will sit together and take our main observed issues during the presentations, what are the take-home messages we are taking with us, and discuss them, and see what we can do with those lessons observed to disseminate them further to other EMS organizations and to the larger EMS community. And we will be looking for closer relationship with the civil protection mechanism family. Civil protection mechanism family is a very well structured. At the moment, it's the civil protection people and mainly firefighters, but that's a community that we believe that works on a daily basis, very, very close to EMS services, and we think that we should be closer and be working together, and the EMS community must be more present and more visible during civil protection mechanism events. So please join us. This is the link to our official page on the civil protection mechanism platform. This is our email, knowems@mda.org.il, and if you scan the QR code, you will go directly to our landing page where you will be able to register. So I'm inviting every one of you, please join us. We have 2 years of journey ahead of us, learning, sharing, becoming better. So please scan the QR code and join us. And here are our wonderful ambulances all over the network. So please send us any questions to the email knowems@mda.org.il. Thank you for the invitation, EENA colleagues. It's been an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chaim. That was a very interesting presentation, and it was great to learn a bit more about the KnowEMS network. So now I will go ahead and pass the floor to Rafaela, who will give us an overview about the core project.
Thank you. I hope you can see my screen. Just, okay. Okay. I hope you can see it.
Yes, it's just not in, yes, now it's in presenter mode, so it's perfect.
Okay, thank you very much for having invited me to present the core project. I'm part of the coordination team of this H2020 project. Core stands for Science and the Human Factor for Resilient Society. And what I'm going to present here is are the recommendations that come from some activities performed within the core project. The overall objective of CORE is to develop a harmonized vision of crisis management awareness, thanks to a transdisciplinary approach that we developed involving together environmental science experts and social science communities. As a CORE is a multidisciplinary consortium that has been and is aimed to define different metrics and common ones with respect to natural man-made disaster scenarios with the specific target to measure, control, and mitigate the impact of emergencies on populations. And we also gave a particular attention to vulnerable groups such as disabled, elderly, poor, and children and women. We also have a mind to start from some countries that have a very high risk awareness, such as Japan, that is a country with a very high risk awareness about seismic, volcanic, and tsunami risks. We also devoted a great attention in schools. CORE has started in September 2021 and will end in September 2024. We are 18 partners, of which 6 practitioners. We come from 11 different countries, and there are more than 18 researchers involved. As you can see, the table on the right-hand side shows you the participants and the country they come from. The core methodology is based on different building blocks that you can see, the safety culture building block, the analysis of disaster scenarios and human behavior, and the disaster community identity as a resilience factor. Also, the social media support and treats to safety culture and community resilience. Also, it relies on cascading effects and on the governance. We have 7 test cases, and one is the earthquake, that is the L'Aquila earthquake in particular, that hit Italy in 2009, the terroristic attack that hit Manchester in 2017. We have the industrial accident in Venkatapuram in India in 2020, the flash flood on the Aude region in France, the tsunami that hit Japan in 2011, the wildfire in Jerusalem in 2021, and as benchmark case, we have COVID-19 in Europe and outside Europe. As I have said, one of the most important features of our project is this transdisciplinary approach. We, in fact, elaborate a crisis modeling framework by taking into account the human factor, the social and societal aspects, together with the organizational aspects and the possible cascading effects. We also defined and test some indicators by considering, again, the human factor, social and societal features, and we also consider the diversity among Europe by considering the cultural context as a key factor, and we also consider the social group at the local level. We also tested such indicators with citizens and communities. In fact, we had several activities testing citizen individual capacity, but also civil society representatives and rescue agencies. One of the main outputs are the recommendation and guidelines that will are going to be provided by CORE to foster the development of a culture for improvement, preparedness, adaptability, and resilience that considers people's vulnerabilities. But as I have said, I'm here to illustrate you some recommendations coming from the activities we performed. And within the core project, we had the comparative analysis of the case studies that, as I have said, are 7. And such recommendation said us that it is important to have a global database to record and share experiences and the lesson learned to understand what worked and what not during the events that we have examined. Also to have a unified reporting mechanism as the one we developed thanks to the deliverable 2.1 of the core project that helps people to understand, to capture the good practices during such events, and also to create a legislative framework that ties together the climate science and the local planning regulation, also to understand how to identify the populations that are now living in at-risk areas, but that will be also at risk in the future, in order to create local plans, informed local plans. Also to develop a framework that involves the statutory agencies, the citizen and the voluntary organization, according to the location where they come from. Also to develop a comprehensive register considering the vulnerable individuals. Sorry, okay. Again, to develop standards and guidelines that considers the integration of resilience features in the design of new infrastructures, and also encouraging the usage of resilient materials in the construction techniques. Again, there should be a great attention to the psychological effects that emergencies have on people, affected people. So it's something that should be considered by local authorities in the aftermath of an event. Again, each member state should have established formal plans to identify programs supporting the economic recovery of the people, communities that are hit by the disaster. And also we should identify the optimal approach to train the policymakers, the administrators, but also coordinating with people, and also to speed up the legislation process in order that faster decision can be made. We also have a recommendation for fighting disinformation. We should provide, the official actor should provide information on a regular basis in order to increase trust and credibility, in order that people perceive them as a reliable source during an emergency. The official actors, as for example the authorities, the scientific institutions, should provide and update information about an emergencies on a regular basis, and to link this information in their message on the social platform using the communication channels that is considered most appropriate. Also WhatsApp, for example, has been found as one of the most important platforms through which to disseminate information. And official actors should also be present on social media platform, providing accurate information and acting immediately to counterbalance and possibly to minimize the effect of misinformation, especially during the emergency. And the emerging technology should be consider ethically, should be reflected ethically and from a societal perspective before to be used in communication. of course, when we decided to develop strategies to fight the misinformation, we should also consider the cultural context and the ideological debates in the targeted social groups, because we should consider them in order to try to fight the misinformation, and to consider how to respect also their beliefs, and letting them understand what is wrong, possibly with some kind of beliefs they have. When deciding the communication to counter misinformation, the affected people's characteristics and environments should be taken, of course, into account. We have also recommendation coming from the comparative analysis of safety culture in different regions. In fact, we have that we have performed some activities to investigate the role of safety culture in different European contexts, and this was very important. We had the surveys, but also focus groups with people and with the practitioners. And what came out is that the flexibility for rules and procedures should be aimed at organizational level. We should create conditions for actively involved volunteers in disaster risk management activities. We also should create on a national level an authoritative and trusted dedicated crisis communication and information channels. The institution should also provide valid means to create constructive discourse between them and citizens. And we also have to aim to the harmonization among different organization levels. This is something that seems to be really missing, especially during a disaster and in the disaster management aftermath. We have also recommendation coming from the analysis of the role of trust. We have issued a survey understanding the role of trust in institutions and experts. And what we have found out is that lessons learned are very important, because people that experienced an event have a positive or a negative attitude towards such emergencies according to what is the experience, and they also would like to be more active, and the participatory approach should be foreseen also for people, because citizens often do not feel to be involved in such decisional process, and so trust is something that is bidirectional, should be built in a bidirectional mode. And of course, authorities and practitioners should be trusted together with the experts, but also citizens should be trusted too. Another thing is that we should try to minimize the isolation effects, because many people affirm that they feel alone in the aftermath of the event. And another important finding is that we should aim at a collaboration between different authorities, experts, in order to foster the risk awareness. Core project is also part of the societal resilience cluster. Together with our sister project, we have issued this policy brief that is presently translating different languages in English, in Italian, in French, and German. So if you are interested, please also download such booklet. Is very, very interesting, with some tips coming from different projects, not only from the core one. Then finally, we have the official channels of the core project. We have a LinkedIn page, web page. We have the YouTube and the Twitter. If you are interested, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you have any questions and you find out this presentation to be interested, please do not hesitate to contact me at my personal email address or to contact Paolo Capuano. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Raffaella, and just a big thank you again to Haim as well for participating in this webinar today and for presenting the work of your projects. It was great to have you, and I want to wish you both a nice rest of your day, and we will have this recording available on the EENA website soon.
Thank you very much to you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye to you. Bye-bye to Chain. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Thank you.